telescope is an extension of its owner that allows us to peer into the universe to see nature on the grandest scale, with wonders that boggle the imagination. Okay, this is Galaxy Log for December of 2021 with a subtitle of Nights with Hypatia. And the first galaxy I'm going to go to is in Triangulum. It's called NGC 777. It's kind of in the middle of Triangulum. So it's an easy star hop, easy to find. And here's my near view image. The date is 12/4/2021. And here are the particulars of this galaxy. It's fairly bright as far as its magnitude. Surface brightness a little lower, but it's not too bad. It's a small galaxy. It's an elliptical galaxy, an E1. And its distance is pretty far out there at 240 million light years. The telescope is a 6-inch f5 Newtonian, and the eyepiece was a 5mm, which gave me 152 magnification. And the sky conditions at this time was pretty good. I rated it pretty good. And also, at this point of the night, NGC 777 was directly overhead. So it was cutting through much less atmosphere, and so it gave a pretty decent view. And so it showed fairly round and a little stellar nucleus, large in a neat star field. Also, just south in this area right here where the cursor is right here is another galaxy, NGC 778, but that's under 13th magnitude, so it's not visible in the 6-inch. Maybe from a darker site and better sky conditions and high magnification, I probably could pick it up with this telescope, but not at this dark site and the sky conditions this night. So the next galaxy, we go into Cassiopeia, and it's actually a satellite, one of the satellite galaxies of the Andromeda galaxy, which is, of course, right here. And it's NGC 185. And here's a closer up view of NGC 185 of where it's located. So a very rich field of the sky. And if you look right here, here's NGC 147, which is another satellite galaxy of the Andromeda galaxy. But I didn't go for that. Sky conditions were starting to deteriorate just a little bit. And so I went for the brighter NGC 185. And I'll probably do both again under better sky conditions with a larger telescope. And here is the near view image, of course, the same night. Here's its magnitude. So it's a bright as far as magnitude, but its surface brightness is pretty low. It's big, and it's rated as an E3, and its distance is 2 million light years, which actually puts it slightly closer than the main galaxy of M31. So it's kind of like between us and the Andromeda galaxy. So it's on our side of the Andromeda galaxy. And of course, it's with a 6-inch f5 Newt. The eyepiece here I used was a 9mm, which gave 85 magnification. And as I said, the sky conditions started to get a little less as far as transparency. And so I rated it fair at this time. But the view was actually pretty decent. It stood out fairly well. A really nice, rich field of stars. That's one of the things that was noticed right away. It was in a beautiful field of stars, kind of located between these two brighter stars. And the galaxy showed a fairly bright core area, then a large elongated or oval disk, like that, shall we say, and gave a modeling look to it. Yeah, I thought it was a really nice view. I really did. I didn't go for 147. I didn't move the scope over to see 147 because I knew, I said, the sky conditions started to go downhill a little bit. So I went for the brighter of the two. And as I said, just said a few minutes ago, that I'll go back to both 185 and 147 with a larger telescope, and get both of them in the same field of view, which is pretty neat. You can do that with a nice wide field eyepiece. So I figured the sky conditions started really going downhill, and I can see clouds coming very quickly. And so this basically was the final view of the night. I was hoping this night that the sky conditions would stay a little longer as far as being at least good, but no, it deteriorated fairly rapidly. And so I just did a final view of the night, figuring, well, I just did one of the satellite galaxies of Andromeda, so let me do the main galaxy here real quickly, and then the two other satellite galaxies of M32 and M110 here, and used the 18 millimeter eyepiece, which gave 42 magnification. And the view was actually pretty decent, but I was only able to get this view for maybe about a minute or two, and then it started to deteriorate fairly quickly. So that was it. Unfortunately, for this night, I was hoping to get some more galaxies I had on my list for this telescope. I knew it was going to be a shorter night, but it was shorter than I hoped for, when the clouds moved in and just sucked the sky in, and that was it. It was over. So I basically packed up and went home. Okay, I have a bonus observation from 12/13/2021. That night, moon set was like 1:50 in the morning, and the original plan was for me and an observing buddy to head up to one of our dark sites for a short night with our Apo refractors. And because it was showing it was supposed to be clear all night, crystal clear. But as that morning, looking at the weather and seeing that there was a possibility of a clouding event for a couple hours just around moonset, we scrapped it. So that night came, and it was around midnight or so, and I went outside, and it was crystal clear. Moon was a little lower in the sky, so I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll take the 6-inch f5 newt out on the old azimuth mount that I have, and just get maybe a few observations in just here from home. And just to show you can, even from a light polluted area, I mean, it's not heavily light polluted, but it's a light polluted area, that you can still do some galaxy observing, even with a smaller telescope. And so closer towards 1 o'clock in the morning, as the moon was getting pretty low in the sky, I figured, okay, now it's time to set the scope up. And had the scope set up, and eyepiece case out, and so on. Figured I'd do maybe an hour or so of observing. So I was getting everything ready, making sure the scope was collimated, and I looked back, and you could see the moon real low in the sky and through the trees, and I just noticed there was something a little funny about it. And I said, "Oh, there are clouds. Here it comes. It's coming earlier than I thought." And so they were coming in quickly, and this part of the sky where NGC 2683 and Lynx was real clear, and it was pretty high up. So I figured, okay, I can get a pretty good view and see what I can get. So I first inserted a 25 millimeter eyepiece, found a galaxy, and then inserted a 9 millimeter eyepiece, which I have. It's an 85 magnification, and it gave a pretty decent view of 2683. It's a really bright galaxy, and I've done it in Galaxy Log earlier this year with the 12-inch. But this was kind of my near view of what I saw. And I lighten up the background sky kind of with the, since it is not heavily light blue, but it's light blue, didn't like that. I can see the Andromeda Galaxy with the naked eye from here on a good night, so it's not too bad. But it was a really good view. And I thought maybe if I insert the 7 in, it would be a better view, but here come the clouds. And they pretty much covered over the area where the galaxy was, and the galaxy started to disappear from view. And that was it. Basically, almost the entire sky got socked in. So it was about 8 minutes of viewing. That's about it, 8 minutes. So that's the way it goes. But in that 8 minutes, I got a really nice view of a really great galaxy, a favorite galaxy. In fact, my observing friend, who I was going to go up to the dark side with our refractors that night, if it was going to be clear from moonset to astronomical twilight, which was going to give us around 4.5 hours or so of observing. This is one of his favorite, if not his favorite galaxy. So it's cool that I was able to observe this galaxy, even though it was, like I said, 8 minutes of observing. But that's the way it goes. There's nothing we can do about the weather. And that pretty much sealed the deal for fairly bad dark window. Okay, this is a summary for this Galaxy Log. And first, dark sight. This is the dark sight I usually use on shorter nights and so on. Or it's kind of my go-to dark sight. It's like a 30-minute drive from north of where I live. There's a Google Earth of that area, and you can see it's pretty decent, pretty dark. And then for that second night, that bonus observation of NGC 2683, here's home. And this is, we own a winery, and we live on the property, so here's the winery here. We own about 17 acres, which is most of this here, and up into this mountain wooded area. In fact, it goes even below where this image is. So we own a good chunk of land, and our elevation is around 900 foot. Back here in the woods here, I think the peak up there is around a little over 1,000 foot. So our elevation is pretty good. We're about 6 miles northeast of Reading, Pennsylvania, but Reading sits down along the river. So being up high at least helps a little bit. Here's what it looks like from Google Earth. You can see it's not quite like the dark site, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It looks a lot worse, I think, than here, than really what it is at night. It's not too bad at night. I can see the Milky Way. I can see the rift, as I said in the video, that I can see the Andromeda Galaxy with the naked eye on good nights. So it's not too bad. Some of the local lighting goes down later at night, so it's not too bad. As far as scope, and here it is. It's a GSO 6-inch f5 Newt, and it's on an Explorer Scientific Twilight 1 old azimuth mount. Great mount, and you can see the name of the telescope. This is actually my wife's telescope, and it's named Hypatia, who was the last librarian of the great Library of Alexandria. So that's what it's named, and it's a great telescope. I mean, for $200 tube assembly, a thing really has really good optics. Now, having been an f5, it's a little more forgiving, of course. Don't use a chroma corrector at all on it. It has a 6x30 finder scope, which is fine for this size telescope. It actually does really well. So it's a really nice package here. It's a really fine telescope. I'm very impressed optically how good this telescope is, especially for $200. But Hypatia does a great job. It really does. As far as eyepieces, for NGC 777 was the Celestron 5mm XL LX. For NGC 185 and that home view of NGC 2683 is the Celestron 9mm XL-LX. And for that wider field view of M31 was the Celestron 18mm XL-LX. These eyepieces are really good for the price. They're really a good eyepiece, and they're kind of my go-to for quick observations and so on. I don't want to take the more expensive eyepieces out. So yeah, these are really fine eyepieces for what they are, for the price, shall I say. They're fine eyepieces, they really are. So that's it for this month's Galaxy Log, and hopefully next dark window, I'll be able to get better nights, clearer nights from darker sites and some of the bigger telescopes. So clear dark skies and happy galaxy observing.